Good afternoon and a happy new year again. I hope you're keeping well and welcome to the second edition of Careers in Coffee this year and also for season three. I'm Kieran Buxton, Enterprise Coordinator covering East Norfolk, Broadland and West Norfolk, and I'll be hosting today's episode. Today our guest is Amy Lepinier, who is an Employer Engagement Assistant at East Norfolk Sixth Form College and a degree apprentice completing a Chartered Management Degree with the Anglia Ruskin University. Amy will be talking about her life as a degree apprentice in an educational setting. Thank you for joining today, Amy.
No
Hello.
worries. Thanks for having me.
Guys, how are you keeping?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. I'm really annoyed because I've been practicing your surname and I just messed up then, so I'm a bit disappointed in myself. But
It's okay. I
sorry.
forgive you.
So I'll go into a few questions. Anyone watching, please feel free to add questions into the live chat. But firstly, what does your role of an employer engagement assistant do at East Norfolk Sixth Form College?
A whole variety of things, basically. So my main focus at the moment is sourcing placements for T levels. We are launching them in September. But obviously, given the current circumstances, that's a bit of a challenge at the moment. So that is our main focus at the moment. But also kind of getting employer interactions for our students, helping them with careers advice and planning their pathways to try and give everyone the personal experience and get the advice that they need so that they can decide on the right future for them, really.
Brilliant. Sounds varied and really interesting. Just for anyone watching that might not know, what are T levels, or a brief description at least?
So T levels are a new qualification. They will be the equivalent to 3 A levels, and it's 80% in the classroom learning and 20% in the workplace. So that equates to about a 45-day placement. So basically, it's just getting that kind of industry knowledge that you don't really get when studying at normal A levels with all the content of the syllabus.
Brilliant. So, as I mentioned earlier, you're doing a degree apprenticeship at the moment. What is a Chartered Manager Degree?
Yeah. So basically, it's business management.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I've got my first workshop tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
So, what sort of things will it cover?
So the first module is work-based learning, and then we'll go on to cover things like marketing techniques, reflective learning, just stuff like that, everything.
Brilliant. So, as I mentioned as well, you're not just doing a degree, you're working full time, so making up an apprenticeship. So, how does it work for you in terms of balancing the work and study?
So I have about 20% of my time allocated to my work, my uni work. So that kind of equivalates to about 1 day a week. So yeah, at the moment, it's kind of whichever day a module falls on. So it varies every week. It's really flexible. So yeah, I can kind of do that here and there and wherever. So yeah, it's really flexible, really easy to manage, to be honest.
Brilliant. So, it must be quite strange yourself, not too long out of education, out of sixth form, and you're now working within an educational setting. So what's it like, sort of, going from a student to actually working in the education?
I mean, it's really different because I literally only came to this sixth form as a student myself last year. So it's really weird to be on the other side of things. But I really like it. It makes me feel powerful. And I think it's really helpful because I kind of have the insight of the students and the staff perspective as well. So I can kind of link those up quite well. And try and match the students with the best interactions for them.
Okay, that makes sense. So, and not only that, so you've obviously mentioned you were a student at East Norfolk Sixth Form. do you think
Yeah.
how does it feel actually going back to the same sixth form college, not just to an educational setting?
I think that I would prefer it this way. Obviously, I don't know because I can't speak for having it any other way. But I just feel really comfortable. I kind of know all the staff already. Had really good relationships with them when I was a student, so it's really nice to build on those as a staff member.
Brilliant. So my next question is, did you know you always wanted to go into an apprenticeship and study chartered management?
No, so I I was always quite a high achiever, um, and the pressure of going to university comes hand in hand with that. Um, and to be completely honest, I didn't want to go away. I didn't want to go to university. I was kind of done with education, and I just wanted to get on with my life and get a job. But I really wanted a degree because I wanted to prove that to myself, that I could do it. And obviously, it's not the only way can you can get places now, but it's a really good thing to have, and a really good asset. Um, so yeah, I felt quite a lot of pressure to go to university. Um, I applied for all my five choices, in Oxford actually, because I applied to Oxford. Um, and then I ended up completely changing my mind, and I decided that I wanted to go BA because it was close by, and especially with COVID, I didn't want to go away just to be shut in my room. um, but yeah, I wasn't loving it. Nothing to do with UEA itself, but I think the pandemic didn't help. I wasn't getting the proper uni experience, and I think really the only reason I went was because of the pressure to go. Um, but my sister chose to do this, and really loved it. And the opportunity came up, and I thought it was perfect.
Brilliant. So we have got a question that's come through. So the question is, would you recommend business management at university, or would you consider it to be too generic?
I would actually really recommend it, because it's so generic. It can kind of link in with whatever you want to do, and I feel like I haven't had to make that decision about my entire future because I think this will help me get anywhere. Um, so yeah, I would definitely recommend it, and I think it's great. But if you have something that particularly interests you, or you know what you want to do, then then go for that because obviously that's your passion. But I just didn't know, and I think this is the perfect thing for that.
Brilliant. So you've mentioned a little bit how you were a high achiever, and kind of briefly since in what your grades were as well. And I guess the obviously the stereotype would have said that you're more suited to academic learning. And I know that you've kind of mentioned that the pandemic didn't give you that full experience, hence part of the reason why you moved. Um, but what advantage do you think being academic is going into an apprenticeship?
Um, so I think that being academic kind of helps me with the work side of things, with things, talking to people. I think I've kind of got that insight and got that intellect to allow me to do that. But I also think that it helps me to learn on the go because I can generally do things quite quickly. I can keep up with the workload even when I'm not doing it every day. Um, so yeah, I think it's helpful, but I don't think you have to be academic to do something like this. I really, really don't.
Brilliant. That's good perspective. So prior to obviously firstly choosing university and now going into an apprenticeship, did you carry out any kind of work experience?
Um, so I've had a couple of jobs. I volunteered at Appleseed Care Farm, which is like a social social enterprise when I was young. And then I moved on to a bit of waitressing, which I think everyone and their mum has done at some point. And then I worked at Africa Alive, the local zoo, which was really, really fun. And I loved it there. And I got to see the giraffe every day, and it was lovely. And I was a guest services assistant there. So I think that definitely helped with the admin side of things here. And then I also volunteered for the Pink Orange project over the summer. So I don't know if you know what that is, but it's based in Lowestoft and it's with Access Community Trust. And basically they are distributing food packages for children who are eligible for free school meals. So during the pandemic and school holidays, they're still getting access to those meals that they would normally get in term time. So that was really good for the customer interaction. But it was hard work, but it was really, really rewarding.
Yeah, that sounds like a really brilliant project. Certainly one that I hadn't heard about, and it certainly sounds like you've got quite a varied amount of experiences there as well. Which kind of leads nicely into my next question, which is, did you find work experience helped you to get into the apprenticeship, and if so, how?
I think that any experience you can get is going to help you, no matter what it is. I think even just having some sort of customer interaction or working as a team is just super helpful to anyone, and it just helps you build up your skill set. I would say that, as I said before, Africa Alive, where I was a guest services assistant, that definitely helped with the admin side of things here. But actually, when I was waitressing, I think that's helped me more than anything because it's given me the confidence to talk to people, and to have that confidence is actually a real benefit to me, and I don't know where I'd be without it.
That sounds really good, and definitely something that people should take on board around work experience. When it came to finding and applying for this apprenticeship, firstly, where did you find the apprenticeship? Did you mean to find it? And then what was the application process like?
So my twin sister was already working here doing a degree apprenticeship, and so she told me about it, and I was like, "Oh my god, yes!" Definitely thought that that was a
So, unfortunately, it seems like Amy at the moment is experiencing some technical difficulties. So we hope to get Amy back with us as soon as possible. I just paused for a minute because I wasn't sure if it was just me or if it was Amy's internet. So, from my knowledge of East Norfolk Sixth Form, so after hearing about the apprenticeship, I believe that it would have been via their own website. From my experience with East Norfolk Sixth Form anyway. But and Amy's now rejoined us to finish telling the story. Hello, Amy.
Sorry
Welcome
about
back.
that.
I was just saying, my guesses are that after you heard about the apprenticeship, that you would be going pointed to East Norfolk Sixth Form's webpage to do the application.
Yeah, and also we post lots of things on Twitter and LinkedIn. So I'd say to anyone who's interested, just keep an eye out on those platforms.
Brilliant. So for you, when you applied for your apprenticeship, what was the application process like?
So it was basically kind of a personal CV / log of my work experience. So, but rather than just uploading a generic template, East Norfolk had their own form, which which allowed me to kind of link everything back to the role. And then I had to write a personal statement and then got invited for interview.
Brilliant. And so what was the interview process like? What sort of interview was it?
So for me, it was really weird because it was with kind of teachers that I already knew. So it was really relaxed. Obviously, they were super friendly, and I know they would be to everyone else too. But yeah, it was pretty relaxed. Each of them had a few questions to ask me, just related to the role, and then things like equality and diversity. And then after about 20 minutes of that, I then had a short writing task to complete, and then that was it.
Brilliant. So yeah, no, it just demonstrates there's a lot of similarities to applying for a normal full-time position. And well done on getting over those hurdles. So
Yeah.
when you're looking at the role that you do now, what skills would you say are required to do that?
Communication skills, definitely. Having that interaction. I would say maybe a little bit of admin, but really I've learned quite a lot of it on the job, and the systems are different here as anywhere else. So that's kind of learning on the job, and it would kind of be the same for everyone. But yeah, I just think communication skills are so important, and having the confidence to pick up the phone and speak to employers is really important in my role as well.
Brilliant. So as I mentioned, you're pretty fresh out of education, and you're also an apprentice at the college. What have been the challenges for you being in that situation?
Um, so I spoke to you about it earlier, but I was replacing one of the two members of the Futures team. So I'm still really new to the role. And then the other member of the Futures team also got offered a job elsewhere, and has decided to take that in. So I'm kind of the new apprentice to, which is crazy. So that is definitely a big challenge, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Well, you must have done well to almost earn the promotion pretty quickly within the role to be leading the sort of futures team in that respect. And have you found any
I'm not sure it was
challenges?
deliberate.
Well, it's still earned either way. But if have you in particular with the students, has there been any have you had any backlash from the students being a similar agent and an apprentice as well?
I haven't at all. I think the struggle that I've found with students is probably something that everyone in an education setting finds. It's just getting the students to interact, and they might want to, but actually finding the motivation to do it is one of the most difficult things that I've found. But yeah, I mean, they're all lovely. I think they quite like actually that I'm young and I kind of get it. So it's actually been really nice to interact with the students in that way, and I haven't had any backlash at all. They've been lovely.
It's brilliant and really reassuring to hear, especially for those that are looking to potentially go into a youth worker education setting at a young age. And again, I know it is early days in your career, but looking at your journey so far, looking at the education, looking at work experience, and also now university and your apprenticeship, what would you say have been some of the highs and lows of your career so far?
Um, the high of my career is definitely getting this position. I'm so happy. I'm so relieved. This is absolutely the best thing I could have done for myself. And I'm really proud of myself for kind of stepping away the stereotype of going to university and doing this, because I know that this is the right decision for me. and also that my sister works here is quite nice sometimes. And some lows are definitely just not knowing what to do. And I've definitely been in that position a lot. And yeah, I've really, really struggled with that at times, and especially this year. And I'm really lucky in the fact that I've actually found something that I wanted to do, but I had to go through a lot of loopholes to get there. So yeah, that's definitely been difficult, but I'm happy now.
Do you know, that's really nice highs and low actually. Well done for you for persevering. Finally got to the right position, and actually I reckon they're really relatable highs and lows to people. So really that'll hit home for some people. So looking, you now hit the high of your career so far, but obviously we've got to be looking to the future as well. What are your future aspirations?
Still don't know. I
That's
still
totally
don't
fine.
know. I mean, I'm going with the flow. Yeah, I'm happy where I am now. I've got a few years of doing this. I'm sure I'm going to meet loads of amazing employers, loads of amazing people. I'm sure that I will figure out what I want to do, but I'm not worried about that now. I don't know, but I think that's okay.
And I think that is okay, and that's actually quite an important message because there is a lot of pressure on people to know exactly what they want to do. But it sounds like you're on the right path and the right steps. So good on you for being honest on that one. So we're going to look back before East Norfolk. Have a little look at your school. How did you find school, and what was your careers advice like?
I thought it was really good. At school, I mean, we kind of didn't really think much about our careers. It was just the next step. And I think that always has been the way, until you kind of get to your second year of college and then you're like, okay, I need to start thinking about my future now. But there was always support here, for whatever information you kind of wanted. If you were unsure, there was always support on hand, and I was really grateful for that.
Brilliant. And so if you met yourself back at the age of 14, what advice would you give to yourself?
Don't care as much, because it's okay and back out, and it's okay to not know what you want to do.
Yeah, that would have probably saved you some pressure over the last couple of years. So I have got a not so
Definitely
career
do what makes
related.
you happy.
Do what makes you happy. That is definitely worth thinking. And that should be the quote for 2021 with COVID as well. So I have got a question that's not so career
Yeah,
related,
advice
but
for everyone.
so sorry about there's a few technical difficulties today. So I have got a not so career related question, but linked to your interesting fact and something you mentioned earlier. So not only are you an identical twin, but you also work with your sister. So what's it like being an identical twin, and what's it like working with your sister?
Um, there's definitely pros and cons to being a twin. It's lovely to always have someone there, and to completely trust each other. But I think everyone naturally compares you to each other, and that makes you compare yourselves to each other. That can be quite difficult at times. But yeah, I am grateful for having a twin and having that support. And it's very cliche and very cringy. She's definitely my best friend.
I thought that was only a
And
fantasy.
it's nice to work with her, just to have someone. Yeah, it's nice to have someone here that I know, and that I can always count on. But I mean, we don't work that closely together, so it's nice to have our own space. Well,
Brilliant. And my final question today is, which is something we always ask: what do you love about living and working in Norfolk and stuff?
I love the beach. I love to be able to escape to the beach for a walk after a day at work and just be out in the fresh air. That's definitely a highlight for me.
Brilliant. So that's actually all the questions we've got today, and I don't believe there's any more that's come through on the live chat. So thank you so much for joining us today, Amy. It's been really great to hear from you. You know, someone at a very similar age to a lot of the young viewers on this episode and on the show. But to also get an insight into your journey and current roles. So again, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. So that's all for today. I just want to say apologies for the technical difficulties today, but Amy did really well to combat them. She did have to use her phone, unfortunately, today, as the link wasn't working on her computer or laptop. So she did really well to overcome it and still join us today and give us some brilliant insight into her journey, her role, and difference really of what a degree apprenticeship can bring, especially working in an educational setting. Thank you to Ashley Ruffin for making it all come together behind the scenes. As usual, she has done an ace job and has had to take on a difficult part today, making this happen, but also getting Amy back onto the show. Thank you again to Amy for joining us, and thank you so much for you guys for watching. To help us continuously improve and meet the needs of what you want, please don't forget to fill out the survey in the description. It's really appreciated, and we want to hear your views and make sure this show works for you. To help us, that will really help us continually improve. Have a great week, and don't forget to join us on Thursday with Jordan and Josie, as they'll be hosting the Director for Children and Young People at Suffolk County Council, called Alan Kadzal. Again, I really apologise if I pronounced that wrong. I should have asked beforehand. Have a great week, all the best, and we will see you soon.